the industrialization of South Amexem and the industrialization of Alkebu-lan from the healthcare perspective, the interior perspective, journey travel and transport and customs perspectives, getting all those aligned and keeping them aligned is the work that I am prioritizing. I have to. Others across this planet are short-sighted in their thinking. Corruption is massive across the planet. Apathy is at atrocious levels in North-Amexem. It leads to so much inertia. Our kith and kindred in the North-Amexem are very smart. They're very informed. Misguided. And they are trapped. The thing is, they put themselves in the trap in North-Amexem and insist on keeping themselves in the trap in the North-Amexem. If you come to them and you show them a way out, some of them will even fight you to stay in that particular trap. In South Amexem, industrialization is key. Infrastructure is not as strong as it could be. In the Alkebu-lan and the Ab.Zu, infrastructure is severely lacking. And I'm not anti-capitalist. I am pro-responsible capitalism. I am not interested in seeing industrialization come to Alkebu-lan and the Ab.Zu in the manner where you're putting pavement everywhere, bridges and tunnels everywhere, pipelines everywhere, fiber optics lines everywhere, and disturbing the animal migration patterns, messing with the watersheds. The ecosystems are an issue for me. North-Amexem may very well be where the brain trust of the Amexem-Moor-Empire is. May very well be the capital area of the Amexem-Moor-Empire. The Alkebu-lan and the Ab.Zu is the depository for all our wealth, plain and simple. Central and South Amexem are key to our future. Getting everyone to be in lockstep in certain things is not a hard reality, at least not in the foreseeable future. We don't have to be in the same sentence. We don't necessarily have to be in the same paragraph. We do have to be on the same page. Very hard to do. However, it must be done. One of the biggest issues that we have had, in my view, getting our folks to come to the realization that collectively we do better when we move as one, collectively. When you got 5 trillion different agendas, and there are always going to be various agendas, the issue is to keep all those agendas from disrupting the collective advancement. Very hard to pull off. So when we start the work that we're doing now in 2 command areas across the planet, now we're in 19 command areas. We're budgeted up for 45, only in 19. I always say we had to unlearn so much, having linear methods. Linear methods work excellent on paper. In life, reality, no, no, that's not been what we have experienced. It's not always a language issue. There are many subcultures now that basically meld into the grand culture of the Amexem-Moor-Empire. We have one way of thinking on one side of the empire, another way of thinking on the other side of the empire, and another way of thinking here in this side of the empire. So when we speak to the issue of, all right, we have some funds in hand, we're going to order several new field radios, and we're going to have these on the ground in Bakindiyeke in the Zanaga district. And then the regional government says, yeah, Imperial-Majesty, we'd rather have more non-GMO seeds. Can we have those instead of the radios for now? Well, we'll budget up for X amount of non-GMO seeds for every command area, and they haven't reached what they were peaked out to have, what they were maxed out to have. So, all right, we'll send more non-GMO seeds instead. We figured they had the field radios in hand. They can get more things done, for easier communication. Makes sense. But the realities of our folks on the ground in that particular area of the empire were not looking at communication. They're looking at expanding how much food we have available from non-GMO seeds. So the subtleties and intricacies of organic diplomacy and governance don't work well with linear thinking. We've had to learn to use rotary methods of engagement. So not necessarily on in the same paragraph, but definitely on the same page. And having to unlearn particular thought process. Learning to become somewhat flexible without becoming too flexible, because if you have too many variations, it's hard to maintain the governance effectively now. So we had to learn to bend without breaking. Learning curve. I'm still loving the fact that every single time we turn around, we're getting another report, and we're like, wait, how did we get there? We weren't even, that wasn't in any of the RERs that came in. That wasn't discussed by the ambassador superintendent or the ambassador in charge. The Grand Ambassador and I didn't know anything about this. So when we go back to convene before the Imperial Council collectively, it's like, oh, all right, well, we have to cover this, and this. And why are we covering this, and this? Because this is not reality. When we thought we were operational in 3 villages, only found out that we were operational in 5. When did we get into the 4th, and how are we in the 5th? Wait, what? These are the things that no matter what we put in our process protocols and procedures and budget proposals and what becomes budget law, the X factor is always going to be there. So when you have parties talking about that they are engaging as a nation, it's easy to say it. It's easy for the words to come out of your mouth. When you have parties now talking about we're getting rid of the Franks and Gauls, cool, great. That's the easy part. What is going to be your plan? If you don't have a plan, you can come with us. What they're looking to do in general is basically maintain the status quo. The only thing that changed is the faces. They got melanated. And that helped what? It helped who? So basically, you're operating like the colonizing hostiles, but not with their pigmentation. Just their line of thinking. Not practical, not sensible, and not smart. And this is why I say every time they have a coup, and they've had the fifth one now, or the sixth one, depending on how you look at it, if you want to include Al-Sabata district. But the fifth particular coup, well, I find it amazing that they always seem to do the coups, but don't have a plan on what to do after the coup. And when you look at the circumstances on the ground 2, 3, 4, 5 Earth years after the coup, what has changed exactly besides absolutely nothing? It wasn't about what they said it was. It was about who is next in line to get their cut. That's all. Because if you're going to engage in the coup scenario and don't have a plan to put in place immediately after the coup has been completed, you're making it very clear it was never about the masses. It was about the individuals. Plain and simple. So the biggest issue here, and that is there will be no industrialization anywhere across the Alkebu-lan and the Ab.Zu when you got corruption levels sky high and parties are not taking things into consideration because they're specifically thinking like they're colonial masters. They just have a darker complexion. So when parties get tired of the madness, when parties in North-Amexem get tired of their madness, if it's not too late, then maybe, just maybe, they'll find their way amongst our ranks. We can get some work done to save lives and improve the quality of lives on a much larger scale. Folks can say what they want about our scale. We have scale, and we can scale up. Folks can say what they want to say, and they're going to. We all know that. But while they talk, we work. While they're running their mouth about absolutely nothing of relevance today, it's easy to talk about yesterday all day long, talking about his story or the accounts of the animals all day long. This happened and that happened. You know what? Cool, great. Yeah, great. What about now? We got babies to feed now. What's the plan? You got a budget to implement that plan? You got process, protocols, and procedures to put that plan in place? You got fraud countermeasures, instant accountability operations in place already to implement that plan? If not, what are you talking about? Those are the questions the masses are supposed to be asking. The sooner they start to ask those questions, the sooner they're going to see they're not getting any answers. But we can answer all those questions because we're actively doing what they're looking for.